So have been in the midst of a tropical depression with cool, rainy weather. Highs have only reached about 72 degrees max. It's rained various levels, various intensity for 4 days. And at peak times, it's been a deluge of rain. The first couple of days of rain were a deluge lasting 48 hours. And then now we have some light drizzle, so I jumped out here to do a quick vlog. And this has been the biggest, longest rain we've had this season. Now the rain's supposed to lessen by mid-December, October and November being the most rainy months, but surprise, you can't predict weather. So no flooding for us. We're high and dry, well, dry for general terms. You can see the rice fields here full of water. The rice fields right here next to our house is full of water, but nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. The canal / creek that runs through the rice lands, rice fields here, and goes around, like over here, all high ground. This is the only low ground is right here. And you can see this little area right here is flooded. So that thing is peaked out. And because they have low ground over there, which I didn't know about until now, with the amount of rain that we've gotten, you can see where the water has come up and started, just flooded that whole farm. Had a funeral a couple days ago, some local dude in the village. He was 88 years old, passed away. So we, as the neighbors, walked with the funeral procession down to the grave area there. And I think some people from out of town, they're wearing all white, relatives from out of town, arrived a couple days later, and they're having another ceremony. It's been so wet, they're having some issues completing the work of the grave site, but they're getting there. The old man's not sitting in a hole in the ground. He's got the marble top over him and everything now, but because of the weather, there's been a lot of delays to that. But yeah, this area here, flooded. Little encroachment right in here too, but definitely huge over there, just low-lying ground. This is why we raised our ground level several feet before we constructed the foundation on top of that and then built the house on top of that. If it continued to rain like this for another 2 weeks, maybe we'd have some concerns, but that's not going to happen. You'd have to have a superstorm and a supercell and all this stuff and boy, did it dump the rain. So this is about as bad as it's gonna get. The rain should let up in a couple of days. It's getting lighter and not so intense. So by Monday it should be gone, but you know, it's gonna be generally a week's worth of rain. But yeah, wet, dreary, windy, cloudy, cool. Gotta be careful. You can get sick just like you would in the Midwest of America or the Northeast or the Northwest. When it gets winter time, you can get just as sick in this kind of weather as you would in America during winter. So I've been keeping a wool cap on my head and heavy clothing on when I come out here just to putz around or whatever. Been staying inside mostly. But yeah, if there was ever going to be a test, is it going to flood? This would be it, and everything's a-okay. Everything's just fine. But this farm area here, as soon as the rain lets up and all this water dispenses through the canal and is gone, it'll be just fine. But right now it's underwater. And as soon as the weather does improve and we get back to some sunshine, I don't even remember what sunshine looks like, or warm weather, I'll be right down there fishing. Good. This is good for fishing. To me, this is great for fishing. I know that once things let up and I can get over there and do some fishing, oh Lord have mercy, I'm gonna get a lot of fish. But right now it's been indoors and just chilling and taking it easy. There's no running around out here for anything. And our food supplies are good. Wife hasn't had to run to the market. She ran to the market just before this tropical depression arrived. And so we're stocked up. Everything's fine. No power outages, no worries, no concerns of any sort, except for the fact that we're stuck inside. But we're making the best of it. So I thought I'd come show you a little bit of the flooding that has occurred out here. And this is like worst case scenario, what you're looking at right there. So I'm relieved. I'll go ahead and say that I'm happy. It's not the banks of the river. This ground is higher than that ground, obviously. It's crested, but it is not overflown to the point where it's starting to come in to our area. And that's not going to happen. So I'm okay with that, because if the rain were to continue for several more days in heavy downpours, it might be something to watch, keep an eye on. But as it stands, this was quite the amount of rainfall. Now in the Central Highlands, I'm sure it's bad. You know, you've seen where the mountains are around here. If I were near the mountain areas back in here, I'd probably be concerned. But a lot of the ground here, as I mentioned before, as you can see, it absorbs a lot of that water, absorbs a lot of that moisture. And so next to the house here, where you see the rice fields, it's, you know, it's not bad, but that's about as bad as it would get. Okay, it's cold, it's rainy, it's bullshit, so I'm running back inside. The storks are having a ball, getting a lot of food, a lot of small fish and crabs and stuff that are, you know, coming up and out into that drier area. So they've been hanging out there and having a feast. So good for the storks. It'll bring a lot of fish down from the bigger lakes and areas by the mountains into my area. So I can't wait to get out there and fish. But for right now, nada. Okay, peace out.